The Warriors.
The Warriors. This is a 1979 classic. Can you dig it? That's what it says on the back. Can you dig it? And I'll get into why it says that later on. But this is a 1979 film written and directed by Walter Hill. And this is the Blu-ray director's cut. Now, my pause. Alright, what's this movie about? Well, this movie is about the future, apparently. It says set in the future, and I don't know what year. But apparently when you watch the movie, it looks like it's the year 1979. Because everything around it is 1979 New York City. But this movie is about literally like hundreds of gangs that just exist in New York, and they all have this truce at the beginning. They get together and they got like this guy named Cyrus. He's like this Dr. King. He's giving a speech and he goes, "Can you dig it?" That's why the back cover says that. And he gives the worst fucking speech ever. But I'll get into that in my negatives. But he's giving a speech, and then somebody kills him. One gang kills him, and then blames this gang because they want this gang dead. So all the gangs go after this gang, and this gang has to run all the way back to Coney Island, where their gang presides and lives, and that's their turf. So this movie is basically like what? That one... Fuck, what's it called? Fuck it, I'm blanking, but whatever. It's basically just a movie where they're just running and hiding, and fighting sometimes. That's the movie. Mad Max. That's what that movie... This is what this movie really is. It's just like, okay, we gotta get from point A to point B, except that Mad Max, they go from point A to point B, from point B to point A again, and that movie fucking sucked. Everybody loves Mad Max Road Warrior, or Fury, whatever that one that just came out 3 or 4 years ago. I fucking hated it. And everyone's like, greatest movie ever! Bullshit. Just because Tom Hardy's in it does not mean it's good. Alright, but I'm not talking about that movie. I will say that for a positive for this movie looks very good. Like, for a 1979 movie, this Blu-ray transfer is amazing. Like, it doesn't look grainy at all. It looks like I'm watching a movie that just came out within the last 20 years. That's how crystal clear HD it looks. So I would recommend this cut. It's good on Blu-ray. Some Blu-ray transfers don't look good. Like, I had, like, Halloween H2O. It still looks grainy as fuck, and there's, like, black dots, like, flashing everywhere. It's, like, all the footage is messed up. I don't know what the technical term for that is, when there's, like, black specks, like, flashing on the screen. It's, like, there's a missing pixel there. But this movie does look good. It looks good for a 1979 Blu-ray. That's why it looks good. I would be interested to see what this movie looks like on DVD or VHS, just to compare it. But, yeah. Another positive would be that there's a couple of good fight scenes in this movie, and that this movie has a unique story. I haven't really seen anything like this, just gangs. I mean, it has an interesting concept, and I feel like the execution was not nearly as good as it could have been. I feel like this movie deserves a remake. In fact, this movie is a remake, apparently. This is like a remake of something else I heard, so I have to check that one out. And another positive is that this movie made me laugh, but it made me laugh at its ridiculousness. I was just, like, laughing at bad dialogue and things where people would say something and then another character would be like, just shut the fuck up. And I would just start laughing. But yeah, that's it. That's all my positives. This movie, it wasn't terrible, but I just don't see why this is even considered a classic. So let's get into my negatives officially. Alright, so we got Cyrus. He's like the Dr. King in this movie. And he's giving this speech. And all these people are like clapping and cheering like it's a great speech. Like, I have a dream. Except he's saying, can you dig it? And it's the worst fucking speech ever. It's not inspiring at all. I'm not like, yeah, I agree. We should all get together and take over New York. Which, by the way, New York City in this movie, not only is it shitty looking and terrible looking, but it's completely empty. It's empty. They couldn't afford extras. Like, I know it's late at night, but this is the city that never sleeps. Like, how far into the future and what parallel universe is this movie set in where New York City is empty? I've been there. It does not sleep. But yeah, it's just like, and then like this gang, the Warriors, the gang we're following, their main leader that we see at the beginning of the movie, he's the first one to get picked off. And it's just like, oh, there goes that guy. And then another gang member gets picked off by a cop. A cop throws one of the Warriors in front of a train. And that, like, that's not, just because he's a gang member, it's death, punishable by death. Like, that cop should be arrested. But none of the other Warriors mention it. They don't give a fuck. They're like, okay, we're less in numbers now, but we're not going to ask where that guy's at. They didn't see it happen, but they're not asking about it, so that just makes that character feel like he wasn't important, which none of them are. That's another negative. All these characters are the same. They're gangsters. They're just white and black gangsters. They all wear no shirt, and except for one. There's one gang member in this little 9-10 member gang who wears a shirt, but they all are shirtless, and that's such a weird decision. But I get it because that's like their niche. Because there's like 100 gangs they show you in this movie, and they all have like their thing. One gang has their roller skate thing, and they're just walking around roller skates, and they're trying to look and act as badass as they can. But that's when I start laughing at this movie. I'm like, am I supposed to think like, oh wow, this don't fuck with this group? They're very menacing with their rollerblades. That just shouts 1979 right there. That just makes this movie age. No one roller skates anymore. Another thing that makes this movie age is the use of the word faggot. They use the word faggot in this movie quite a few times. It's just stupid. The guy goes like, "Oh, what are you, a faggot? Because we're just sitting here standing still. That's what a faggot does." Really? When do gay people just stand still on streets? There's just like lots of line of dialogue that made no sense. They're on a train and like it's the middle of the fucking night and there's like these 4 people who look like they just got out of prom and they enter the train and then they leave and one of the girls drops a flower. The guy picks it up and gives it to Chad or Swan. He gives it to the girl and he goes, I don't like seeing things go to waste. It's a fucking flower, and not only one is a flower, two, it's fake. It's fucking fake. It's meant to like just snap on. It's not gonna go to waste, and coming from a gangster, when do you care about any of that shit? These characters are just stupid. Like, I don't give a fuck about them and their journey back to Coney Island. I just don't care. Alright, I don't. They don't change at all. You could say one of them kinda does, but does he? He has like this like little arc where he goes from despising this woman to kissing her to despising her again and then kind of being with her at the end. It's a weird-ass relationship. And while all these gangs are trying to hunt down the warriors, because like I said, they're blamed for Cyrus's death, the Dr. King guy, you got this radio DJ telling all the gangs the updates about, like, oh, this gang didn't succeed in taking out the warriors. Where it is, they're on such and such street. Go get them. You're inciting violence over the radio waves. In today's world, that would not stand. You can't just incite violence over the... You would be fired as a DJ. And then by the end of this movie, it's like probably like over 14 hours later. This movie takes place over all night. And then this DJ's still at work. It's like, when is this bitch's shift over? And the main bad gang, like the Rogues, this gang that's called the Rogues, they're responsible for shooting the guy at the beginning and blaming the Warriors for it because they want the Warriors to die. At the end of this movie, we don't even get to see their demise. Like, you get this big old gang that rushes in and they know who's really responsible. And they kind of just get beat up and killed off screen. It's like, really? That's the big climax is fucking nothing? You have like these couple of fight scenes and you're like waiting for the big one and then just bloop, it's non-existent. And even the fight scene in this movie. Okay, the fight scenes in this movie, they feel badly choreographed. There's a couple of good choreographed fights, but it just looks very bad choreographed. Like, you got that moment where like there's one guy fighting one guy and there's like a guy behind him just kind of like waiting for his turn to kind of jump in. It's like that Kill Bill thing where it's like, why don't they all just pile in at once and just take the fucker out? And now there's like this one girl in this movie who's like that love interest I was pointing at earlier, and she is part of this gang called the Orphans. And these orphans were going to let the warriors walk home and not say shit about anything. Just like, all right, yeah, you can go. And then she's the one that calls them chickens and says, no, you should beat the shit out of the warriors or try to kill them or something. And then she ends up being the one, like, flirting with the main lead of the warriors. It's like, if it wasn't for that bitch, you guys wouldn't be going through the extra trouble now. But now you're just taking her along the ride with you to Coney Island, and now she's like trying to fuck the main Swan, the leader of the warriors now, and he's just like, he should be killing that bitch because she's responsible for their trouble. Really, come on. And then she says she's not a whore, and then she's clearly acting like a whore, so she's a liar. Every little twist, every little tiny, like, if you call them twists, but every like little revelation, like, oh, that chick in the park is a cop. No shit. Oh, these girls, they're actually part of this girl gang, and they're just luring these people, the warriors, into their apartment, pretending like they want to have sex with them, but really they're a girl gang, and they want to kill them. No shit. There's lots of stupid little moments in this movie, like, come on, seriously, there's lots of dumb moments. And they add this weird comic book thing, like every once in a while a shot will like turn into like a comic book, and go to like the next scene, and so like the whole movie is like a comic book playing out. But why is that even necessary? Is it because the original movie, like I said, this is a remake, was the original a comic book, or is this movie based off a comic book? I don't know, but that whole comic book aspect of this movie It's not even necessary, so why is that even there? This movie just didn't have much to offer. It wasn't fun. I laughed because it was stupid. And yeah, that's really it. It's just people going from point A to point B and like 2 or 3 small fight scenes in between. And they just keep hopping from train to train to train. And you think it would only take one train to get from the Bronx down to like Coney Island. But they just keep getting off. It's like, just get the fuck home. It's not that hard. Maybe it is. I don't know the New York subway train system that well. But I feel like they should have gotten home a lot quicker because it didn't take them that long to get from Coney Island to the Bronx at the beginning of the movie to get to that dumb meeting. But whatever. I didn't really enjoy this movie that much. So therefore, I'm just going to have to say that when it comes to the Warriors, this movie is just wasted time. Those are my thoughts on the classic The Warriors. Have you seen this classic from 1979? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Did you actually enjoy this movie at all? Let me know. And hit that like button. And subscribe by clicking on my beautiful cartoon face in 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.